Hey guys, welcome back to our channel where we give you groundbreaking tips and tricks for wellness and beauty. During the pandemic, most of us are not getting the daily activity we need to keep fit and healthy. Many of us are looking for ways to keep active but don't want to splurge on home equipment or online classes. Today, we're discussing a very accessible way to keep fit and how it can improve your life. You guessed it, we're talking yoga. We'll also look at the possible risks so that you can make an informed decision about the practice. Before we continue, hit the bell button for more incredible videos from us. Let's get right into it. I'm sure some of you think you know what yoga is, and you probably have an idea about some of it. The truth is that yoga is not just downward dog. Yoga is the name of a group of physical, mental, and spiritual practices originating from India around the 5th century. This makes yoga one of the oldest disciplines in the world and was originally practiced as a form of healing. The main tenets of yoga are physical exercise and postures called asanas, breathing techniques called pranayama, relaxation, meditation, diet control, and positive thinking. Yoga is further divided into 4 paths: Karma Yoga, Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. The 2 most popular forms of practice are the subsects Vinyasa Flow and Hatha Yoga. Yoga has endless benefits, and the most prominent are lowering stress, anxiety and depression, better breathing, improved heart health, promotion of health habits like mindful eating, and improving flexibility and strength. We're gonna focus on a few of these today. To begin with, the most obvious appeal to yoga, especially in quarantine, are its low startup costs and accessibility. You can do yoga almost anywhere, whether it's in a big yoga studio or a small floor space in your lounge or dorm room. It does not require any equipment besides a yoga mat ideally. Even without one, you can practice on a carpeted surface. When it comes to the practice, there are lots of affordable books and online classes you can attend, or simply watch free YouTube tutorials. Note that it is always recommended to be coached if you are new to make sure you are doing everything correctly. Secondly, as previously mentioned, yoga helps with improving flexibility and mobility. Contrary to popular belief, you don't have to be super flexible to practice yoga. The beauty of yoga is that it meets you where you are and can be practiced at all levels of ability. If you practice poses for a few minutes a day, you will see the difference within a week. In this way, it's super gratifying. The stretches are also fantastic for correcting posture and elongating your spine. We all especially need this now during isolation as we are sitting most of the day. The third major benefit is building muscle and strength. When people think of gaining muscle, heavy weights and protein powder comes to mind. Yoga is a much more natural way of gaining muscle as you work with your own body weight. Your muscles also develop as long and elongated rather than bunched up like a bodybuilder, which is healthier and also just looks better. Like with anything, there is always a flip side, and yoga is no exception, and you should be aware of the risks to this ancient practice. An example of yoga's duality can be seen in Bikram yoga. It is arguably the most risky of all types of yoga. While practicing in a warm room helps you get into deeper stretches, that very same heat can cause some people to overstretch and suffer from dehydration. In extreme cases, it can lead to heat exhaustion and even heat stroke. Bikram is safe for most people, but this is still worth bearing in mind. Another common issue is incorrect practice. Yoga is low impact, but do not let that deceive you. From the outside, it seems like easy exercise, which is why so many people throw themselves into the practice headfirst without any caution. Novices will try poses that are meant for intermediates or will stretch themselves beyond capacity too soon. This results in pulled muscles and bone strain, which takes a few weeks to subside, but it is very unpleasant nonetheless. Moreover, many people practice with no regard to their previous underlying health issues. For example, someone with neck and upper back issues should probably ease off headstands, as this puts immense pressure on both. Sometimes it's a case of overzealousness or ego. People want to prove to themselves and a class full of others that they can do something, and so they overextend themselves and land up with an injury. An example of overzealousness is what was eventually termed the yoga drop foot case. An American male college student decided to intensify his practice after a year. He would sit upright on his heels in a kneeling position known as Vajrasana for hours a day. Very soon, he was experiencing difficulty walking, running, and climbing stairs. Doctors eventually traced the problem to an unresponsive nerve, a peripheral branch of the sciatic, which runs from the lower spine through the buttocks and down the legs. Sitting in the Vajrasana deprived the branch that runs below the knee of oxygen, deadening the nerve. Once the student gave up that pose, however, he improved rapidly. Another example of the dangers of yoga have been well documented by prominent Oxford neurophysiologist W. Ritchie Russell. He found that yogis could risk potential brain and neck injuries from direct trauma to the head, quick movements, and excessive extensions of the neck, kind of like whiplash. Normally, the neck can stretch backwards 75 degrees, forward 40 degrees, and sideways 45 degrees, and it can rotate on its axis about 50 degrees. Yogis typically move the vertebrae much farther. An intermediate student can easily turn his or her neck 90 degrees, nearly twice the normal rotation. While many practiced individuals do this and are perfectly healthy, it is still a precaution to consider if you're a beginner. So now that you know the full benefits and risks of yoga, will you be trying it out? Let us know in the comment section below, and remember to subscribe for more useful health content.